Hello and welcome to Talk It Out, where we talk it out. My name is Duryea Rashad, and I'm your host. I'm so happy to be here. It's a beautiful Thursday. I get to share my time with you lovely people. Now, if you haven't been to Talk It Out before, this is a place where people come together to have healthy, productive dialogues. Where people of opposing views come together to have a healthy, productive dialogue in a respectful way. Keeping in mind that it's not always about proving who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes it's simply about listening and being heard. Now, let's get started. Before we do, I'd like to remind you to go to our YouTube page and subscribe. You can also contact us and connect with us and stay up on the new the features that we have in upcoming episodes by going to Facebook and searching at WNM Talk It Out. And you can also find us on Facebook at Woe Nelly Media, Twitter at Media Woe. Connect with us. Have a good time. All right. So now it's time to introduce our illustrious panel. Returning to the panel after about a week's hiatus is Nick.
What's up? How's it going?
I'm great. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
I'm happy to have you back too. We had a good time last time, actually.
We did. I had a lot of fun. That was
great.
It
was dope. Okay, so Nick is an international man of mystery, aspiring Twitch lack of personality, and not soon enough military veteran.
Also true.
Why was that your intro?
I'm like 6 months from being done with my time on active duty, and
thank you for your service.
I can't wait. I can't tell you how much I'm excited for that. So
it's different. I mean, like, have you already made plans to to acclimate yourself to civilian life?
Yeah, fortunately, I had a nice little chat yesterday with somebody. Sounds like I've locked down some employment in the future, and it's not too far away from where I live now. So that's really good. We're very, very excited for that in the house.
Awesome. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
All right. Also returning to our panel is the beautiful and lovely Miss Samantha Hart. Sam.
Hello.
How are you today?
Awesome. Just cooking dinner.
Okay. What you got for me?
We are doing chicken Alfredo and some garlic bread and some
chicken Alfredo and garlic bread.
Yes.
You have to make your Alfredo sauce from scratch. Otherwise, I won't mess with it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm cool. All right. Sam is from Atlanta. She's got two beautiful girls. She's a dancer, a realtor, Emory graduate, and she didn't do this because she thought, I'm sorry. I was reading a personal note on the air. My bad. Okay, I'm so happy to have you back, Sam. Next, returning, our last returning member, I believe, is Miss Mo Smith. Mo, what's up? What's good?
What's going on?
I'm always happy. I'm so happy when Mo's coming because she's gonna come with the facts for one. Everything's been researched, double checked. I know in your resources section when you used to have to do papers in high school, you had everything, your references already are good to go.
No, I didn't apply myself in school. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. But yeah, when I did, that's pretty much I had to be accurate.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have your facts.
Got to.
All right. Now, so this week we have a lot of new people on the panel, and I'm so happy to have them. One of them is a friend of mine from college. He's a whiskey lover, music connoisseur, a Southern gentleman, and a Netflix enthusiast. He's 5'9" and prefers to be the little spoon. Mr. Tristan Daniels, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's good? What's good, Tristan?
This is kind of exciting. I like this. This is new.
I'm excited too. So how you been?
I can't complain, man. I just started a new job about a couple of weeks ago as a leasing agent, so that's been pretty exciting and pretty different. But yeah, just living and trying to get through quarantine in 2020 the best I can.
Right, that's what it is at this point.
Exactly.
Everybody wait for 1/1/2021 so bad.
Yes.
All righty. Also new to the panel. Her name is Dr. Tanya Davis. She has degrees in sociology and education, and she's fine with being called just Tanya. So that's what we're going to call it. She's 45 years old, cisgendered bisexual female. This January will make 25 years of her being married to a heterosexual male and in a heterosexual relationship. She says double standards suck. Miss Tanya Davis, how are you? Welcome to the panel.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here. So how's your week been?
It's been a little bit crazy. I'm so glad it's close to the end of the weekend.
Why has it been crazy?
Just everything at work. You got a short week. You got to fit a whole week's worth of work inside of 3 days.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I'm so glad that you got to take this time to be with us. Next, another friend of mine from the military. His name is Connor Smith. He's 27, currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, and pursuing a degree in biology at Emory. Mr. Connor Smith, welcome to the panel.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here.
So am I.
Yeah.
I actually have something in common with every other person on the panel too. So
what is it?
Military with Nick, got the last name Smith, going to Emory. I'm also 5'9", and I also think that double standards suck. So I got something for everyone.
Oh,
I'll fire
okay.
service with you, so good for you.
Oh,
Everybody, we stacked today. We stacked. Okay, and
I love
we have another cast member or panelist who's going to be here, but I'm having some connection issues. So once she gets here, I'll bring her in. Her name is Lacovia. She's a friend of mine from literally 4th grade, maybe 5th grade, but since I was this big. So I'm so glad to have her here. And when her device comes up, I'll bring her in. All right. So now that everybody's done their check-ins, we're going to take a short ad break, very short, and then we will come back and start our current events section. That was Geeking Out, which is our sister podcast. It's every other Monday. So basically, we just get together and we geek out. We talk about comic books, freaking sci-fi, supernatural stuff. In 2 weeks, not next Monday, but the Monday after, we're having a virtual Renaissance fair. So everybody's gonna come on. We're gonna be dressed up. We're gonna have goblets. Or is it giblet? Whatever. The
Goblet.
whatever. Goblets and giblets. We're gonna have like the freaking turkey on a stick, all that stuff. So please come with us, LARP. If you LARP and send us a photo, that would be so dope. I'll share screen it so everybody can see what your best LARPing looks like. All right.
Medieval times.
I know. I'm excited about that. So let's talk about current events. So I'm gonna start because I kind of want to get the politics out of the way. I want to get out.
Please.
I want to do it first but you can't talk about it right now. So I'm going to talk about Nancy Pelosi. It starts with her. Then we're going to go to Trump and Biden. So I'm going to speak really quick and then we'll open it up. So Nancy Pelosi basically came out and said that she thinks there's no reason for Biden to debate with Trump. She basically says he shouldn't do it because she says there's no point in him doing that because of Trump's debating style. They won't get anything done. They won't actually end up talking about any of the things that need to be talked about. It'll just be like a mudslinging contest. So I kind of want to hear your opinions about that, but also I want to add some things. This week, Trump did an interview with a Fox News person. Who, Lord, did y'all see that interview? Basically,
was it the one with Laura Ingraham?
I think that's her name. I just saw the part where he was talking about golf. So basically, when he was talking about the policeman killing these unarmed men, he equated it to choking on the third in a golf tournament. He's like, they choke. You know, it's the same as if you're playing golf and you're at the third and you choke. So that has spurred a lot of controversy, along with a lot of other things that are going on, because Biden has basically basically called him out saying, if you can't get in front of all these negative protests, this violence, like I have, and stated emphatically that I do not agree with rioting and looting as a form of protest. That's not protest, that's criminal. He says, if you can't get out here and do that, then I feel like you're not fit to be the president. So I want to open up the floor. I'm going to start with one of our new guests. I'm going to start with Miss Tanya.
Well, I'll tell you right away, I'm not a Trump fan at all. I'm not for Biden, but
Right.
you got to take the lesser of the two evils. It's going to be Biden. Anything that Trump says, it's so sad, but you can't help but laugh at it sometimes because it's either that or cry. and anything that he says, he compared what to playing golf, to choking at golf.
He compared a policeman shooting an unarmed black person in general, but specifically black man, to choking during golf.
That right there proves that he's not fit to talk on a camera at all.
Yeah.
That there's no comparison between those two things, and for him to say that's just more than wrong.
Okay, Mo, I'm ready.
I'm not. I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of the insanity. I'm sick of the insanity. I'm so mad I could probably just spit. First of all, Nancy Pelosi, by her doing that is going to open up rumors again that Biden has dementia and is not able to be on a national stage against Trump. I don't know why she opened her mouth to say that.
She say a lot of stuff she shouldn't say, though.
Yeah, that's true. Just like
she do a lot of stuff she should do.
Oh yeah, like she was endorsed Joe Kennedy on the primary against another Democrat that was a senator, and I was like, wait a minute, I thought you said that it was wrong to go against an incumbent Democrat. Oh, it's because he's a progressive Democrat. It's okay now. All right, cool, bet.
I want to reference a comment that we have in the comments. I want to say Braden Cook. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. He says that Biden hasn't done that. And I assume that you're referring to Biden not having gotten out in front of it and said he condemns the violence and that and rioting and looting aren't a legal form of protest. He absolutely did say that.
Has done it multiple times.
He's done it multiple times. He literally said it.
He's done.
2 days ago. I'm not a
shout out
person.
to you, Braden. What's up, dog?
Right. I'm not a person. I don't know which clip. If I can find the clip, apparently you know Nick, so I'll send it to Nick and he can send it to you. But he did do that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did that. Okay.
But furthermore, just one real quick another caveat. What I hate the most is that they try to put Biden out like he's such a liberal progressive when he's not. So not at all.
He's not progressive at all.
It just unnerves me. Now, at the same time, I don't want him to be, mischaracterized. But let's face it, he's the name on the 1994 crime bill that started the whole mandatory sentencing. His state of Delaware is basically one of the main reasons why we have so much millions of dollars worth of credit card debt, which is putting us under as a country because it was his state that put credit card companies on the map. So I'm like, I have a lot of problems with this guy, but at the same time, I just really
what
hate
do we do?
More.
Right.
And people think that, oh well, if we don't vote, it doesn't matter. They're both the same. No, they're not. I hate to go back to the status quo, but it's either go back to the status quo or we're not going to have a lot of this is a turning point. And I don't think people really understand that as far as this republic. But I leave it alone now.
Okay. Tristan?
So I think this is truly what I think Nancy Pelosi is doing. I think she's doing kind of reverse psychology on Trump because I think because hear me out. I think that the big fear has been that he won't actually there's nothing saying he has to debate anybody.
Trump?
There's not a rule or a law that debates have to happen. I fully expected Donald Trump to say he wouldn't do it because there was one debate in the Republican primary. He just said, bump it, I'm not going, and did a rally someplace and got airtime just as fine. So I think Nancy Pelosi said that to kind of goad him into making sure that he debates.
If you want Donald Trump to do anything, just tell him he can't do it.
Exactly.
Tell him he can't do it.
And then one more thing about the crime bill that she mentioned, because I think it gets brought up a lot, and I think people don't look at it through the lens of when it was happening. When the crack epidemic was happening, that was new. It genuinely freaked people out, Black people included. People were crackheads. They were like, it was bad. And so while the crime bill was bad, it was the solution they had for the time. And my whole thing is, Black congressmen voted for it too. It wasn't like it was this bill that scary white people wrote and nobody else, like literally everybody, like almost everybody in Congress voted for it. If I'm wrong, correct me.
Yeah. I got you. I'm ready.
And I'm not saying this clear. And let me say something. I want to be clear about something. I don't agree with the crime bill. I don't think it was the best solution to the problem. But I think it's important when we look at things from the 80s or 90s, we can't look at it through the lens of how society is now. You have to look at what the information they had, what the information that they had, what they knew, what they didn't know. Even how we talk about addiction now. How we talk about addiction now is very, very different from how we talked about addiction.
But look, I'm gonna say something. It took once it was a threat to a certain group of people and a certain demographic, that is when the narrative changed. And that's what's sad and unfortunate, because now it's an epidemic, the opioid epidemic, and Black people are sitting around like, wait, what?
Like, been dealing with that shit for years.
Bro, every time I finally saw a commercial for it one time. It was a commercial talking about the opioid epidemic, how we got to get in front of it. And it was in this really beautiful manicured lawn ass neighborhood, little kid on a tricycle. I said, that's crazy. So that's when it's a problem, which just to talk about Trump again, I get frustrated at his whole Democrats are going to ruin the suburbs. We know what you're trying to say, bro. Like, you have to remember, whoever your politician is, I get frustrated with all politicians. When you get a seat in office, whether it's a mayor, city councilman, or president, you're then the representative, not just for the Republicans or Democrats, you're a representative of your constituents. So my concerns, whether I'm not politically aligned with you or not, are your concerns now, because I am your constituent. And I really am tired of it, because I don't really have a problem if you don't agree with my political opinions. I still think if you get sick, you deserve health care. If your child is born, they deserve to be able to go to school. Like, I don't care if I believe you or not. But anyway, Connor, tell me how you feel.
I kind of disagree with most people who have spoken. I don't think Nancy Pelosi is doing some reverse psychology. I think it would genuinely hurt the Democratic Party if any debate took place. I don't think, I personally am not a Trump fan, but something that the Republicans have done that the Democrats are struggling with a lot is appealing to radicals. Centrists are generally going to vote along party lines, especially with such volatile candidates that we have currently. The Democrats pushed a centrist candidate, hoping that Republican candidates would shift away from Trump and go to the Democratic Party. But that's not really what's happening. What's happening is radicals is like an extreme term, but more right-leaning Republicans, they're going to eat up anything Trump says. It doesn't matter if he makes himself look like a fool during the debate, because they eat up everything he says. Whereas more left-leaning Democrats are scrutinizing everything Trump says and looking at it under a lens. So really, I just think Trump doesn't serve to lose anything, where in a debate, Biden could lose votes, because those more left-leaning individuals who are currently saying pick the lesser of the two evils might hear Biden say something and say, you know what, I don't want to.
That is a very thoughtful response, because I did not think of that until you just said
exactly the problem with it.
That is look at you coming through on the panel first, man. Goodness gracious. We got a stacked panel tonight. All right, Sam.
But
go ahead. If you got a rebuttal.
Well, just a question to that, and this is an honest question. If, let's say, Democrats had elected a more liberal candidate, like a Bernie Sanders, right?
Bernie Sanders would be a shoo-in.
But let's be real. How do y'all think folks really would feel about them saying socialism scares people? And let's be very clear, socialism already exists in America. Welfare is a form of socialism. Social Security is socialism. Medicaid is socialism. So it's here. But when you say that word, that has a connotation to it for people of a certain age that freaks them out. at least no one actually thinks Joe Biden is a socialist. Donald Trump can keep saying it. Nobody actually believes that.
There are absolutely people in this country who feel like Bernie Sanders is a socialist.
Those people also believe that
We shouldn't listen to those people's opinions.
Right, and they're QAnoners who think that there is a pedophile ring being ran by Democrats. But most people with sanity and a half a brain, even if you're a Republican, you know that Joe Biden isn't a socialist. But imagine if we had ran Bernie, and Bernie legitimately says he's a socialist and doesn't really give a good explanation as to why he uses that word and why he thinks it's a better system of government than what we currently have. Democratic socialist, excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me be clear.
Could I respond?
Yeah.
I think the general reason is, again, it goes back to centrists usually vote along the lines, and the people the more centrist leaning Democrats who would be afraid of the term socialism, they might switch parties if it was more of a centrist Republican candidate, but I don't believe that a centrist Democrat who's afraid of the word socialism is going to see Bernie Sanders on the ticket and say, you know what, I fear this so much, I'm going to vote for Trump. I think if it was less of a volatile Republican candidate, that might be an issue, but currently I don't think that is, and I think that's why we have the biggest opportunity to get away from the status quo currently, actually. And that's where the Democrats screwed up by trying to bring it back.
Okay. I'm gonna let Sam get. And she's gone.
But I'll say this real quick. Let's be clear.
Yeah, go ahead. Before you move on.
Historically, whenever they have a centrist figure in the last 40 years, it's never worked. 1988, Michael Dukakis, he was a central figure. Lost. 2000, when they had Al Gore, lost. When they had 2004, when they had John Kerry, lost. People do not want Republican light. If they're going to vote Republican, they want an actual Republican. And they know this. They don't. The problem is the Democratic Party, they have such an elitist air to them. They don't care. Because they know that even if they lose this election, all this is going to do is that they're going to get more donorship from more donors the next election, because they're going to be so tired of Trump for the next 4.5 years.
We did come really close with Al Gore, though. It was just a matter of Florida that was the swing state that they said, oh, Bush got it.
I've met a lot of people in Florida, and you ain't getting them off that red ticket. It ain't happening.
But at the same time, this is a state where his brother was literally the governor, and the Secretary of State was also Republican, and they did voter suppression. That happened 20 years ago. What has the Democratic Party done as far as stopping voter suppression? Nothing. If anything, they've done the absolutely opposite. The Voter Rights Act has been squashed. So there's nothing going to stop the Republican Party to continue voter suppression. They've actually spread it from the South all the way through the Midwest, all the key states that they know that they need in order to gain the presidency. When I was a child, the way they taught history is that if you won New York and California, there's no way that you can win the presidency. The Republican Party in the past 40 years has said, you know what? Hold my beer. And they figured it out.
Well, all right. So Sam is back. Great. Sam, did you want to comment on this before we move to a different current events? Are you trying to? What are you doing, Tristan? Oop, can't hear you.
Is she saying anything?
I was trying to point at her box, but you know how it mirrors.
Got you.
Thing, so it don't.
Go ahead, Sam.
Well, I'm not sure where we landed on everything because of the disconnect. But so are we just talking about the debates? And if
we're talking about whether he should debate or not, why he should debate or not, and we're also talking about all things Trump and how you feel about just kind of chime in, because I know you got pushed out of the screen.
I really liked Connor's point. And I wish that I would have heard Tristan's question. But I do think that it's pretty clear, like, what candidate is what. at this point. Like, I think it's pretty obvious, and it's very different. And I just feel like at the end of the day, like, we should just speed the election up. Like, let's just have it, tomorrow. And y'all worried about voters, like, y'all worried about, voter fraud. Nobody will be able to set nothing up by tomorrow. Everybody just have the voter, I know that's unrealistic.
Like a pop quiz.
Let's get it over with. Like, I think it's pretty... They're two very different options.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people pretty much know who they want to go with at this point.
I think
I agree with that.
You think?
Yeah, 100%.
I think everyone knows who they're going to vote for. Like, there's very little margin for error at this point. Most people are
I think
decided.
it's going to be about if people show up, not if people swing their vote. I think it's going to be about if people actually show up to the polls.
But I think that's what the time will do.
I think
like there's still 6 months for someone to say something that's going to lose them votes, but I don't think there's 6 months for them to convince someone to vote a different way.
I think both sides are pretty entrenched enough. They know what not to say. Trump knows what he can say to keep his votes that he already has locked in. He's not trying to gain any other votes because he knows he's got it won right now. And I think he does, absolutely. Biden doesn't
think he's going to win?
I don't think Biden hasn't won because Biden doesn't have I don't think he has the left convinced because a lot of people on the left didn't want Biden. They wanted Bernie. Now, I didn't want Bernie. I don't want to vote Trump, but that's because I'm going to vote third party because we need to lower our standards for what extremism is.
See,
American extremism is the two-party system. You're either Democrat or you're Republican. You're an extremist.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, you're an extremist if you're one of those two. But I think it's already pretty much settled at this point. He's not going to say any. And that comment that Charles made, I think he would. I think he would pretty much beat Biden up at the debate, but not in a way that you would think, right? He's not going to out debate him on topics. I think he's just going to be real Trumpy about it. You know how he is, where he gets into a debate, it just turns into things that aren't political topics necessarily or about the person.
But he wasn't. If you remember the Republican primary debates and even the debates with Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, no one thought he ever won any of them. Like, nobody ever, like, all the polling after the fact, no one said, "Oh, Donald Trump did a great job."
Here's Tito.
Who watches those?
I'm gonna say this real quick. Now, this voter suppression thing, I don't feel like Trump thinks he hasn't won. I feel like Trump is scared. This is why I feel that way, because of some of his actions. This voter suppression thing, and you going after the mail and all that stuff like that. I'm like, bruh, like if you felt like shit was sweet, you would be like,
he did that last election.
He would have done it harder last election if he had the power. But now he's actually the president, so
the whole
he could do it if he wants to.
Right.
But the whole idea behind this whole this voter thing happening the way it's happening, they're telling you on the news, well, y'all can't believe what y'all see election night, because there's so many votes that won't be counted because of coronavirus and that and the third. I have no idea what's going to happen in the election. My personal belief is that this thing will be dragged out until next April. We will be like, right. I said, wait, what? No, I think this thing will be dragged out until like a long time from now. They're definitely going to drag it out. But I feel
be like 2000. It won't drag out too long. What'll happen is the Supreme Court will make the decision. And since,
Lord, no.
Yeah, and since it's now 5-4, guess who's going to be in office? Yep. Daddy's home.
One more thing, and I'm done. I'm done on this after this.
And then we're going to move on.
Okay.
I think what people, I don't know how like much in the politics you guys are, but all political campaigns do private polling. They do private polling that they pay for that only the campaign sees. It's typically better than the public polling that you see done by organizations, news, etc. Okay. I think Donald Trump's private polling is showing him in the tanker because he is acting very afraid. And last time he never thought he was going to win. He didn't even want to win. But now I think
you think he didn't want to win? You think he didn't want to win?
I know he didn't think he was going to win. Nobody thought he was going to win. He was going to campaign. He was going to lose. Start a news organization. He himself. Now maybe there might have been people in the public who thought, but him himself. Y'all know that man didn't want to be president. Stop playing.
Of course, he wanted to be the president.
Please let me. I gotta interject real quick.
Okay, look,
I got one more
comment.
thing.
One more comment.
I promise. It's the only thing. That's the only thing.
Okay, go ahead.
This is gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way. But even if you think like his private polling shows that he's losing, when I'm not saying he's as bad as Hitler, okay, but just so understand that right away. When Hitler was trying to unify Germany under his, Nazism and the Reich and all this stuff, he developed this really strong sense of nationalism. Everything Trump does, it just entrenches nationalists. He's like, oh, we gotta the UPS can't afford it. It's way too expensive, and that's how people are faking votes and stuff. And the Democrats and all these other people are doing bad things. People that believe in this country, that sways it, man. He's trying to get nationalism. He's not showing that he's like scared. He's doing exactly the textbook move for somebody that's like already in power, trying to increase the power. That's exactly how you build like your very control of government. You make sure that everybody wants the government. It's called nationalism. That's exactly what he's doing.
Okay. So summing that up nicely, we could literally talk about this for a whole show. It literally last episode was all about what we're talking about now. But I'm gonna move on to let me see if I want to go something light. I want to go light. I'm going light. So Brandy and no, not WAP. Is WAP on the actually WAP is on the list if y'all want to talk about WAP. We can always talk about WAP. But
I don't have my red light tonight. That's not fair.
No, I actually do want to talk about female rap. It's interesting. That's where I was gonna go. So basically, and not just female rap in general, females in the entertainment industry. We're gonna talk about that. So we're gonna sum it up talking about this rapper named Mulatto, who is from Atlanta. Oddly enough, I found out her name is a reference to her winning the lottery, not actually being mulatto, but she is mulatto.
She needs to
look. It was but anyway, so she basically did an interview where she said Nicki Minaj is my -- influence, but I credit Cardi B for the resurgence of female rap. Specifically said that's Cardi B saved female rap. Now let me tell you why I agree. Now, if anyone, Tanya, do you listen to rap? I'm not
sorry. I'm an 80s child. I don't.
It's okay. It's okay. But it's still. I'm gonna tie it all together. It's not just. I'm gonna summarize. So the reason I feel like this is true is because Cardi B and Remy Ma made it when Remy Ma got out of jail. That was right when Cardi B was blowing up. The two of them and Remy Ma having her show up at all of her shows, along with like every other female rapper who was anyone ever, showed that female rappers don't have to compete in order to win. And now you have the most female rappers at one time successfully ever who are I was listening to the radio the other day. One song by a dude came on and I was driving for like 30 minutes. I was like, damn. So I do agree that Cardi's success is why because Cardi doing that Megan Thee Stallion song, I got two more points. Cardi doing that Megan Thee Stallion song, she got ahead of them trying to pit them against each other. That's what I think she did. She was like, I don't have a problem with her. I like her rap. So instead of letting them pit us against each other, I'm going to do a song with her. And it's also relevant that we want to see more of that unity amongst artists because I'd rather see a collab than a fight, which is evident by the verses that happened on Monday. Brandy and Monica got no money to do that versus. Zero cash. All the money they got went to the voter fund. They got over 10 million views collectively.
Yeah, 100 million.
All of their songs were in the top 30 on iTunes
the next day.
Night. The entire top 30 of iTunes was just Brandy and Monica songs.
So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about this idea of female unity that we're seeing. Is it good? Is it bad? Where do you think it's coming from? I'm going to actually start with Connor because he's been a little quiet and I'm trying to pull him in to talk about it. So let's talk about it, Connor.
Are we talking about it from the sense of female unity or just if we enjoy
any part of it?
Oh, okay. Well, start off by saying I'm a big City Girls fan.
Hey! I love them. They're so ratchet. I just love it. Oh my god.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm not in the industry enough to say whether or not unity or fights sell better. Like,
yes.
I forget who it was, but like Eminem got into that the diss raps to Eminem, like that was like all over Facebook like a year ago. I forget who that was. Machine Gun Kelly, I think. Was
Yeah,
it? Yeah. Like and that was everywhere. So
Mhm.
like I don't know which sells better, but I think it's just a different avenue of approach that probably wasn't as accessible in the hyper masculine male rap field.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're just exploring that now and it's being successful. I can't speak to the industry as much as I can speak to like me enjoying City Girls and Saweetie and all that. So
Well,
But
you
she,
probably
the
like
thing,
this
she
little
has
pop-
done. Cardi B has done music with the City Girls. She's worked with freaking Remy Ma. She worked with who I just was talking about, Megan Thee Stallion. Her video has all of these female acts in the video. I really do champion her as the one who made it to where we can all eat together and we don't have to be at each other's neck.
Can I just say something a little surprising? So is Lizzo considered like a female rapper?
Yes.
But
She and
but she's
I
a
don't
little
get
bit.
rap
She's like
vibes, but
she to me is like Lauryn Hill.
okay. So yeah, so she's not like super like rap vibe to me, but I'm cool, whatever. So I'm a huge Lizzo fan, and I think because of like the stuff Cardi B done made her music made everybody, all females music really relevant. She credits my favorite band is Incubus, their lead singer Brandon Boyd. She credits him for he's like a philanthropist. His celebrity's not too huge, but like the fans that band does have, they're really devoted. He's like his music's very therapeutic, and that's the way she writes her music. And sometimes it's like a little ratchet or whatever. It's kind of crazy, but like she writes it where it's about body positivity. It's just like upbeat stuff. It's happy stuff. It's Lizzo's in my Spotify. Like I listen to Lizzo all the time in the truck. I hope my wife's not watching because like she's gonna make fun of me, but I listen to it all the time. And Cardi B was like the first name I thought of when I heard of like a female artist. We wouldn't probably have that if it weren't for something like Cardi B making it super, mainstream. Like I don't listen to hardly any rap, especially not female rap. Here we are. So I absolutely credit her for that. That's what it is. Yeah. See, Shelton said Lizzo is more pop music. I agree, but I think
the number one genre in the world right now is rap.
It all develops from hip hop. It all comes from hip hop. So there it is.
But
rapping is it's a skill. It's what to me rapping isn't the genre of music. Rapping is what you do. It's not the genre of music. Hip hop would be the genre of music because I feel like you have people that do hip hop music, but they're not rappers. And at the same time, you have people that rap, but they don't make like example. Iggy Azalea got five songs right now. They ain't bit more hip hop than A Man on the Moon, but it's her. She raps on them, but musically, when you hear it, it's not what I think of when someone says hip hop. So I always think
wait, did you guys say that Lizzo is a rapper? Because
no, I think
Lizzo has called herself a rapper. Like Lizzo she has said herself that I'm not like putting that on her. I'm just calling her what she chooses.
What she calls herself.
Right.
Lizzo is a rapper.
It's more like.
Well, let me tell you why Lizzo's a rapper. Because she writes her shit.
But why does that don't
to me it's not just that. It's that like okay, first of all, let's be clear. Rappers are singers now. Period.
Hey,
period.
Juice sounds like a lot of rapper songs, right? Go listen to Juice by Lizzo. It sounds just like every other rapper song nowadays.
Rappers are singers now because now you have rappers that are out there that have to have more than one trick in their bag since there's so many, right? And they don't freestyle no more, except for Megan Thee Stallion. So since they don't freestyle no more, what can you bring to the table? You got to at least be able to write, and you got to at least be able to sing with that auto tune, right?
And singer's a rapper, Beyonce,
and she can do it without.
Kalani.
Boom. What's her name? Doja Cat. Now you can't just be one or the other now. If you want to be a singer, you better have some rap, or you better have a long career behind you already. All right,
I have to disagree with that.
Yeah, same.
Go ahead.
Okay, so. All right, if you're talking about hip hop, this is per KRS-One, which is a early hip hop legend. He said rap is the style of music, while hip hop is the culture that surrounds the rap.
Okay. Yes, I agree with that.
So that's number one. Number two, the only reason why that women, female hip hop artists or rap artists were able to get back on the scene is because the actual structure of the record label has changed. Right before with the whole streaming, that when they were trying to figure out, okay, how are we still going to make money, they cut out certain things, i.e., the female rap artists, due to the reason of it costs a lot of money to maintain a female rap artist. She got to get her hair done.
Touche.
We have to be down the back. If you ain't
Stylist.
in 22
That's a
inches,
good point.
you ain't doing nothing. You got to have the nicest styles, shoes, all that game going, right? With a female, with a male rap artist, you could put him in a jumpsuit and he'll walk out on stage.
Yeah.
Ain't got no haircut. Probably brushed his teeth that morning, and he gonna rock the mic.
And they just bring in some of his boys to like stand in the back like this. They're just like,
not even,
and that's all it takes. It doesn't cost no money to get those dudes to do that.
Exactly, because that's part of his entourage.
Beyonce goes on stage. She's got like 40 dancers, and they're like the best dancers in the world.
Like $20,000 a ticket, though.
I'm sorry, what?
If Beyonce charges like $20,000 a ticket, though.
Well, she had to work up to that. I mean, the woman has been working since 1998.
Right.
Nonstop. So solo artist 2000 and 2001. So you have to take that into consideration. So if we want to talk about who really saved hip hop, you got to say, well, Lil Wayne kept the party moving with Nicki, because Nicki was a mainstream artist. But
she was by herself, and every time a female
she was by herself for a long time. You're right. But it was Cardi B was the one that broke through, where it allowed other women to eat.
So I'm gonna really quick, because we're gonna move to the next topic after this. Go ahead.
Okay. It's gonna be something that everyone can't answer, but I feel like we don't want to give Nicki her flowers. Like, there's always this. Let me say, there's just this feeling to me, and maybe I'm a stan. We don't want to act like Nicki kept female rap alive. Like at one point, Missy Elliott had stopped making music. Everybody who was a female who rapped had stopped, and all we had was Nicki. And not only did she come out and she did it better than the dudes. Nicki easily is top 10 rappers in the game currently.
Okay, so I want to comment on that. It was gonna be the last comment, but I'm sneaking one in. No, this is my thing about it. I'm a huge Nicki fan. However, I read behavior very well. Her behavior to me speaks to she doesn't like to share space with other successful females. Sorry. Let me finish. I'll let you finish.
I'm sorry. My bad.
So I think the reason that I think that is because as soon as another female rapper, after all the stuff Nicki Minaj went through with Lil' Kim, I would think that when another female rapper came out emulating her style or even anything near that, she would have been open to that person. Instead, she attacked that person time and time again. A person who was very vocally her fan. Very vocally.
Which person? Who?
Cardi B. Cardi B was a huge Nicki Minaj. Wait. Okay, so essentially, that's what I've noticed is that, because I was watching this documentary with Nicki Minaj a long time ago, and she was in a room and she was arguing with this male producer. It's like, why is it that I have to go through this shit when if it's a man in the room, y'all give me respect, but if it's just me, because I'm a woman, y'all give me respect. So I always consider her to be that kind of chick, but I've never seen that. I've never seen that come across. The stories that people tell about her, from Mariah Carey to Remy Ma to Cardi B, to the only girls that she's actually worked with were girls that like Megan Thee Stallion, because Megan Thee Stallion and Doja Cat. I'm sorry, but to me, I feel like that. But at this point, that was after the resurgence of female rap. That was after she realized, oh, I can't stop it. I can no longer be. She basically accepted, I'm not going to be the only female rapper anymore. So let me hop on the train so people won't see that I'm kind of being a hater. Now, this is my issue with that. Nicki Minaj is very vocally a hater sometimes. I love her. I love her work. But when it comes to Joe Budden, really, he deserved it sometimes.
He needed that drag.
We don't talk about that. But she's very vocally a hater sometimes. So I feel like when you put that energy out, you get it in return. I'm a fan of hers that I still like her music, but I kind of look at her sideways now. Like, why couldn't you have just been on the ride with Cardi?
But isn't it kind of sexist? And this is kind of a transition thing because we don't say to male rappers, you need to be nice to all the other dude rappers and get along with them. Because a whole lot of male rappers don't like other rappers, don't rap with other rappers, don't co-sign other rappers, don't fuck.
But it's different.
Sorry.
It's different. No, you're fine.
My bad.
It's different when it's different when you're the only male. If you were the only male, and as soon as another male came along, you tried to start beef. That is what that is.
I just think, and I've heard other people speak about this in
You gotta
general,
get the
with how somehow feminism doesn't mean that all women have to get along, or just because I'm a woman, I have to like you. Like, no, I either like you or I don't like you. And
Okay,
that's,
so here we're gonna move on after this.
Right, my bad.
I'm gonna just say this really quick. Feminism is not about women liking each other. It's about women having the right and the equal rights as men. Period. That's what feminism is. It's not male oppression. It's just women having the right to make choices just like anybody else. So I'm gonna move to the next topic really quick. I want to say I have some announcements. I want to shout out to Chadwick Boseman. Not shout out. I want to give our respect to Chadwick Boseman for everything that he's ever done for especially the Black community. Like, you know, he was low key a new Denzel for real, and all of the things that he was doing, all of his films. It takes a lot for someone to give so much of themselves to everyone in the world, especially being judged harshly. And he did that while he was dealing with something and no one knew. So his story, his legacy is a beautiful one, and I'm sad to see him gone. Now I also want to talk about just Robert Pattinson and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Both were they found out that they're positive for COVID. So just thoughts and prayers to Rock and his whole family. They found out, and to Robert Pattinson. And also, I want to make a quick comment before we go to the next topic. Would y'all see people online, like, be nice to him, even if y'all debate with them or whatever, be nice to him. Chadwick Boseman, when he got sick, he got really thin. People ran him through the coals online. Then he passed, and everyone's like, oh man, you don't really know what someone's going through. So the response to that is Elizabeth Olsen, who plays the Scarlet Witch in the Avengers series, didn't post anything about his passing because people grieve in their own ways, and she's been harassed so bad about it for the last 2 days that she canceled her, I want to say her Twitter or her IG one of them. So just be out, like, don't do that to people because you don't know what people are going through. People, like, you have no idea. Okay,
just because they was on the same movie don't mean that she knew the man. So
she has to. Maybe she felt like it wasn't respectable to say anything.
Right.
Or maybe someone in her family has cancer and it's a touchy subject for her. Like, you legitimately don't know.
It could have been a lot of.
I'd rather her do that unlike Omari Hardwick.
Omari Hardwick. Man.
When he made that post on social media.
Please tell him what they said.
He basically tried. Well, go ahead, because you probably
Omari Hardwick basically got online and said he showed a clip of himself accepting an award as a response to Chadwick Boseman dying, and Chadwick Boseman was in the audience and apparently had whispered something to each other beforehand, and then he's like, I want to get up here and tell y'all what Chadwick said, and he totally doesn't tell the audience what Chadwick said. So his post reads, I'm going to finally read what you told me that night. It's been a pleasure being your biggest competition, and you will be missed, and now that you're gone, I'll take your crown. I paraphrase that last part. He said, one crown passes to another. I'll carry the crown for you. This ain't about.
It was very
narcissistic. Very narcissistic.
Pretty tone deaf.
And very tone deaf.
Yeah.
Okay, so our very last topic I want to talk about is this professor from, I didn't write the university. And I didn't write her name down because I was so mad.
I got it. Give me 1 second.
Thank you. Pull the name up. So there's a professor
I know exactly what you're talking
about. Lying about the fact that she's. Oh, wait a minute, y'all. Before I do that, my good friend from 5th grade, Lacovia, is here. Finally,
yes,
yay! Has some technical difficulties. How are you doing, Lacovia? You muted, babe.
I think she said shit, if I'm remembering correctly.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all? I've been listening. I just couldn't get on.
What you on now? All right, so we're gonna talk about what are we saying? Oh, the professor. So this woman who is an African, she teaches African American studies. She teaches African American studies
at George Washington University.
George Washington University. I got it. She came up. Her name is Jessica A. Krug. Now, before I go into what she said, I'm going to preface it with this. Y'all, some people might be mad that I'm prefacing this at all. She did. I applaud her for taking full accountability of how fucked up this was that she did it. However, it doesn't take away the fact that she did it. But at least she's not one of these people who's going to just, some people you catch them in the wrong and they just keep arguing. At least she didn't do that. She basically canceled herself. She read herself so that we couldn't. But I know she's still getting read in the comments somewhere. All right. So she basically said, I'm going to quote, "To an escalating degree over my adult life, I have eschewed my lived experience as a white Jewish child in suburban Kansas City under various assumed identities within a blackness that I had no right to claim. First, North African blackness, then U.S. rooted blackness, then Caribbean rooted Bronx blackness. I have not only claimed these identities as my own when I had absolutely no right to do so, even doing so is the very epitome of violence, of thievery, and appropriation of the myriad ways in which non-Black people continue to use and abuse Black identities and cultures. But I have formed intimate relationships with loving, compassionate people who have trusted and cared for me when I have deserved neither trust nor caring." That's part of her statement. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, it's long. But she definitely went in on herself. What are we? How are we feeling about this?
Wait, I don't know.
Can I have a quick question?
To be black. I'm like, for real.
She's like fair. She's fair skinned, but her hair is very curly. She's
quick question.
Go ahead.
George Washington is a traditionally or like predominantly African American school, right?
Is it?
If I remember
correctly.
correctly.
Not George Washington.
Okay, no. I'm thinking of something else. Okay, I just want to make sure before I started this. Okay.
No, it's George Washington.
That Howard. That's the one I was saying. Okay. I don't
know.
So, I got this confused.
Go ahead, Tristan. What was your question?
Well, I just hadn't heard this story, but I just find it odd because my thing is, you can be white. I'll be honest. You can be white and still teach
African American studies
if you want to. Because if you've been to school and you know the history, as long as you teach me the truth, I'm not going to take. And you teach it from the point of view of you being white, I'm fine with that. In high school, we had the African lit teacher was a white woman. She was very good at teaching the class. It was a very great class, but she was a white woman and she taught the class. I'm a white woman. I know you have perspectives. XYZ, mumbo. Why she had to lie? You ain't got to lie, Craig.
Tanya, I kind of want to ask you about this, Tanya, just because you're a doctor, you have some experience. Do you teach?
I've taught before. I taught military, Air Force.
Okay, so I just want to get it from your standpoint, especially because I could feel like one of the most sacred relationships that exist is that between a teacher and their student. It's a relationship that has to be based on trust because, it is what it is. Absolutely. Yeah. So I just kind of want to hear from your perspective.
So I think she's got some personal issues, possibly with being white, and maybe the white guilt that she carries. Maybe she was trying to escape that to better understand or learn something. Maybe she has a lot of other excuses that she uses for herself. But no matter what, it's wrong.
It's wrong.
Well, interesting enough, she was Jewish, and like the commenter stated, she's pretended to be an Afro-Latina female. Yeah. So she took race and ethnicity.
Yeah, I think she's not happy with herself. I think that's what it boils down to.
She did say that. She said that in the statement that she had mental health issues, but it doesn't excuse it. But she did say that. Mo, go ahead, Kylie. Go ahead, Kylie.
I just want to ask. So you brought up white guilt. I know briefly, and then we're not saying that's exactly what she had an issue with necessarily, but we're okay admitting that that's probably not okay, right? Like we're saying we shouldn't have white guilt.
You can't help. I'm sorry to cut you off. I personally feel my personal opinion is you can't help feeling guilty if you feel guilty.
That's true.
It's not a choice. You can choose how you deal with your white guilt, but you can't choose
I don't
whether
think
or not
using it as an excuse is okay. I don't think using it as an excuse. It's okay to feel bad, for something ancestors did. I'm not personally doing anything that would, degrade any other person or race's, standard of living. So I think white guilt is kind of kind of a ridiculous notion. It's just used as an excuse.
I have
Hopefully
a lot of
that's
family
not the
members,
case.
right? And please don't think I'm talking about you, because I'm not.
No,
I
no,
have,
no,
I have a
absolutely.
lot of family members that say the same thing, and they're defensive to a point where it's ridiculous. And if you feel guilty because of things you've done, or you're ashamed of something else that people that you love and know have done, and you still love them, and I mean it's so much deeper. There's no binary thing that we go through as people. It's not literally
That's true.
black and white.
Yeah.
All the circumstances that we live under, live with, are a part of. It all falls on a continuum.
Yeah.
And the things that an individual can feel, it can be very complicated.
I can actually speak to that personally. Some of my extended family, my in-laws, they're from what is considered the Bible Belt. All my family's basically from like Texas. Like they all live in Texas. So where they're from. Texas is a little different when it comes to like race and things like that. It's not nearly as southern as people would consider it, but whatever. Anyways, some of my in-laws have some stronger opinions regarding certain races or groups of people. Now, I don't agree with any of that pretty much at all, but that doesn't change my I love them. They're my family. It is what it is. My wife doesn't feel that way, obviously, but it's just part of it. But I don't feel guilt. And I don't know. It's just personal in that way. I don't feel guilt for being related to them or in that way, like the way they behave or the way they feel.
Sure.
So yeah, you're right. It isn't black and white. It's not as simple as, it's not cut and dry, that sort of thing. Because it happens all the time.
But this lady, she took it to a new level.
She really did.
Yeah.
Let me get Lacovia. How do you feel about it?
I've never I just ain't never met nobody that would, go that extreme. Like, and then, again, like with the guilt thing, I don't see why you would feel guilty either, because you ain't your ancestors. So it's about how you carry yourself today.
Now, yeah.
So if you're, a good person and you're not that way, then why are you trying to change yourself? So I feel like you changing yourself to prove something to yourself. You change yourself to prove that you're not a racist or whatever people are calling you, because just be yourself. All my teachers was white. All my history teachers was white, and they explained stuff to me. I understood it, and then that was that.
And you're absolutely right. We have nothing to be guilty of unless we've experienced something, done something in our personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But a lot of white people, they think that they keep. I've just had a conversation not too long ago with a white friend of mine, and he was saying that black people were saying that we need to say we're sorry. I said, no, they need our support. They're asking for us to stand up with them and
Right.
support them in all the ways that you need. Not to apologize for anything we've not done.
Right.
I
That makes
want
no
to
sense.
I want to say something really quick. I see you, Sam. Sam, hold up. Put your headphones in, girl.
I don't need my headphones.
Yeah, because I can hear
We
play.
can all hear ourselves.
Yes, that's why.
headphones.
But I wanted to say, don't you hate when that happens when you're about to say something and then forget it? Oh, the question,
I
the
think
comment.
that-
Yeah, there was a comment in the comments, and it said basically, but would you be okay with your college professor being white teaching you African American studies today? So that's a good question, I think. My personal answer is it depends on how they're teaching the course. But
Right.
I wouldn't have a problem with them specifically because they were white. But if they were white and teaching the course in a way that I felt like was detrimental to the progress that we're making or was stereotypical or anything like that, of course. But if they're approaching it with the same respect that I think a teacher should approach anything that they teach, because generally
Right.
teachers are huge fans of whatever they're teaching. So then I feel like it's not a problem. Does anyone else want to comment on that one?
I had white sociology teachers that taught history from the sociological
Go ahead.
perspective.
After this, Sam, you can go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And they did it with the utmost respect and from the proper perspective, so that it was equal across all the different races that we covered.
Sam?
I just kind of want to go back to what the white guilt thing. Two things about that. One is guilt is really, technically, we're not supposed to feel guilty. We're supposed to feel convicted. Like guilt is shame. It's like shame based. And so, first of all, like guilt alone is not right or good or healthy, if that makes sense. But B, like if someone says like they are feeling guilty about white guilt, or in that respect, someone said you don't feel guilty unless you were doing something wrong. And some people are saying, well, there are white people that are not racist or aren't, don't have these feelings or whatever, but still claim to have this white guilt. And it's like, okay, so how do those two things coincide? The truth is, white guilt exists because we don't understand how much racism and white privilege is ingrained in us as white people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand. We hear racism and we're so sensitive to that we can't really just listen to what you guys are saying. And the point is, is not about our sensitivity. Like we have to be able to say, okay, racism doesn't mean I want to go and like hang someone from a tree or, what I'm saying, commit this like audacious crime. It is when they walk into an elevator and you grab your purse or someone tries to touch your hair or, that is what it is nowadays. Those little microaggressions. And so if we can start to be real about that and not be so sensitive and start to understand that is how it exists. It is systematic. It is ingrained in our society. If you are born as a white person in America, you are socialized to be racist. You have white privilege, period. We all do. Until we understand we do and actively work on trying, we don't. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I feel. And maybe that's a little extreme.
Okay,
but
it's not.
Spoke some truth, girl.
But go ahead, Mo. After this, we're gonna move to our next section, though.
I didn't get to say anything.
Okay, we'll go to Mo. And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm
No, it's
old.
cool.
I'm getting old. I'm above 30. It changes.
Okay.
Everybody here, anybody out here below 30, it changes as soon as you turn.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mo, and then Connor.
Let me say Shelton's comment because Shelton has been in the about. Are y'all gonna read my comment? All right.
Ooh, that's my godfather. Hey, Shelton.
He said, white guilt is the individual or collective guilt felt by some white people for harm and from racist treatment of ethnic minorities, such as African Americans and indigenous people by other white people, more specifically in the context of the Atlantic slave trade. European colonization and the legacy of these eras. All right. So, sorry I messed it up, but I at least wanted to say it because he was like, you're going to read my comment. But second caveat, and it's going to really mess with y'all. Jessica Klug's situation, I don't think had anything to do with white guilt. What it had to do with is that she really didn't feel strong in who she was as a woman. And she looked at the thing that she thought that was of strength, which, let's face it, baby, it has and always will be a black woman. That's just my opinion on it. As being a white woman as being a black woman and as well as a lover of black women.
Yes.
A black woman will always be exalted in my book, and I feel like that she felt the best way to exalt a black woman. Unfortunately, she realized the error in her ways, and she decided to come out before she got pulled out of being
Hey,
little sis. So, but that ultimately the whole thing with the white guilt thing, I think that's a misnomer. I think that's a whole separate other subject dealing with our country, or actually our world as a whole, because we do have a huge problem across the world with colorism. I know I had someone on my timeline made a comment stating that if there wasn't as a big an issue as colorism, she wouldn't have been able to slide. Meaning that a lot of when you have African American roles that come up in television, certain medias, they tend to skim to the light of center, basically, just in order to make sure they get that diversity box checked. But that's just my opinion. All right, back to you, man.
Connor.
I was just gonna say, as another suburban raised white Jew, I don't really think that it is white guilt related. First off, I just want to say that I personally, I don't know if I would call it white guilt what I experience. Like, I don't feel guilty personally for what my ancestors did. I feel more guilty in the sense that being a white male in America, I have advantages innately that my black friends of either gender don't get to experience. Now, I don't want to call it guilt because I'm not in control of that and I can't just rip it off like a band-aid and make everything fair. So I don't feel guilty for that. I'm just feel saddened by it. So I think the word is just guilt that gets thrown on, but I don't think that's an accurate portrayal of at least how I feel. You had mentioned that the professor was fair-skinned, and I mean, there's white people from South Africa, and I don't. If you can pass as fair-skinned in America today, I don't see why African roots would be something you would have to lie about, especially with the rich Jewish oppression history that you could like dive into from your own natural origin. Like, I don't have to.
And there's a rich heritage there.
There is a rich heritage of Jewish oppression. So, like, I don't see why you have to race swap to try to associate with oppression. Like, I can talk to my black friends from a position of being white and still be able to relate to what oppression is based on history. I can't relate to it on what is right now because I have those innate advantages. But throughout history, there has been enough examples of Jewish oppression to where I can at least have a conversation and dialogue about oppression. I don't understand it. But.
I'm going to wrap up this section just with two things. I don't know if you remember this, Callie, but you were present the first time I ever had a conversation about white privilege.
Probably.
You might not remember, but it was at Basic.
I probably had some really bad opinions about it because I wasn't educated then.
It wasn't you though. You're not the one. You just didn't. I mean,
I probably walked it back. I was like, hey, let D go, let him have it. It's all you, dog.
But you were there. But I just think it's interesting, and especially when we talk about oppression, I hate this competition that it seems to be like, oh, we were more or less oppressed. No, bro, we were both oppressed, and it's fucking, it sucks. Yes. So let's not do that, because I feel like that is almost an oppressive mindset to be in, that you have to find an equal.
And that's by design. That's so that way, you know, people like Connor, you know, the white, I almost don't want to say it, but the white Jew, who their history is oppression. Mm-hmm. I mean, fuck, man, like that's oppression. You want to talk about oppression? That's oppression. They've been dealing with that since the beginning of mankind, almost.
That's debatable, so we're not going to go into
and we can't even. They've come around now. They've come around recently. You know, but when we talk about like the human race, a couple hundred years is recent. By the way, like that's recent for the humanity. And that's kind of where like Jewish people have started to get it right. The Holocaust happened in between.
See, you had us for a minute, and then you
no. Jewish people got pretty boned in the 40s. All right, that was not good. But they're not near. But now it's modern day oppression.
Okay, real quick,
totally different.
Because we are running. This segment has to. So Mo, real quick, go ahead and say what you want to say.
Yeah, I would laugh at Nick because that is the propaganda. They're saying that a lot of Jewish people put out with the Torah stating that they've been oppressed in some form of fashion for over the past 6,000 years.
Now I'll say that there's part of it that's partly them too making conflict. But certainly there's been a stigma about Jewish people all over the world from races on either side of whatever you want to talk about that are negative. Have a negative connotation of Jewish people, and that's that's kind of oppression in a way.
Only reason I'm going to, because the reason I'm going to kind of pull back on that, for one, for time's sake, but also we're literally going into competitive oppression right now. So we're
I'm not
doing
saying
it.
I'm not saying that oppression would be worse. I'm just saying we should be okay with
that was where the conversation leading.
So we should be okay with comparing them.
We're gonna
it's
say
okay.
It's not okay. It's
no. They're not the same, but being different. That's why you should be able to relate to them, because there are things that are very similar about what they've gone through now. But
Black
people
people
now, in my opinion, have faced oppression much more recently. But
that's why I said it's debatable. So we're going to move on, because literally this will be a whole nother conversation.
That's debatable.
Right. It's very debatable.
Can I just clarify what I was saying? Because now I feel like I need to.
No. Can you clarify after we take this ad break, please?
Yeah, sure.
No, say what you want to say real quick now.
I just don't want what I said to be interpreted as I was trying to compare Jewish oppression to Black oppression. I was saying that I don't have to pretend that I'm Black or
to understand,
or and even if I wasn't Jewish and didn't come from an oppressed section of people, I can have the empathy to understand it without having to fake being Black.
Touche.
I'm not saying one's worse, by the way. I'm just not saying one's worse than the other. By the way,
don't do it. Look,
I'm not trying to compare them that way.
Callie is freaking last line.
I got to compare. I have to clarify what I was saying. I'm sorry. It's just not what I was saying.
We know you're a good guy.
It's a long statement.
Later. Okay, so now we're going to go into I'm always going to have you back. I don't care if we disagree. You just got to keep the time.
You'll agree with me when I'm done with you.
Wow.
That was.
Don't see where I'm coming from.
Anyway,
I'm just
before we come back, we're gonna go for like a really short ad break, like 2 minutes, not even 2, 1 minute, and then we're going to be back, and we're going to talk about our main topic for the night, which is the double standards that exist between bisexual men and bisexual women.
Oh,
but first, this ad break.
Hey, it's Rakia.
And Durie.
Hey, I'm Chris.
It's Jessa.
And Julian.
So have you guys heard about Anchor? If you haven't, it's great. And it's honestly the easiest way to do a podcast. Let us explain. First off, it's free.
And you'll have all the tools you need to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer.
And Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you. So as soon as you're finished uploading, you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other platforms.
And guess what? You can make money off of your podcast with no minimum listenership.
It's basically a one-stop shop for everything you need. So go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And make sure you come back and geek out with us.
Hi, this is Cody from Cody Paul Media. Thank you for joining me. Anybody can record a video, but the question is, how do you make that video stand out among the rest? A quick animated video like this one can change things around for your company, so go to codypaulmedia.com and get those needs met today. See you later.
That was Cody Paul Media. Cody Paul Media is a very, very wonderful digital media company. They produced both the title the title sequence, and for the front and the back of Talk It Out. They're awesome, super professional. Also, Geek It Out once again, Mondays, every other Monday at 8 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And also, Anchor.fm. If you like to listen to your podcast instead of watching, you can listen. Our new episodes are up every Monday at 6 a.m. Start your weekend off right. And okay, now it's time for the meat and potatoes.
I want to be on that show.
Which show? Geeking Out?
Uh-huh.
We're going to actually start doing like a sixth chair that rotates. But when you come on the show, you have to host. So we'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right. So first, we're going to start with this question. What is bisexuality? Because I've been online lately and I keep seeing posts like males, especially specifically male bisexuality is not a real thing, or the definition of what you consider bi and this kind of thing. So for me personally, I've always considered it being attracted to both genders. But I'm going to read some examples of the confusion that exists if I can find it. There it is. Okay. So here are just 5 examples, and I'd never understood this until I read it. So some define it as a straight identified married man who has surreptitious sex with other men. And then single men with steady girlfriends is another one. Divorced men who partner with another man but will remain attracted to women. Transgendered persons and their transgendered partners, or men in a polyamorous relationship. Now, before we go deep into the conversation, tonight's conversation is not just about like, ooh, bisexuality is a hot topic. It's also about learning how to be respectful of people who don't identify that the way you do. Too often these topics are just not talked about because you don't want to say the wrong thing. That's why we need to normalize it. So, and I'm not saying normalize talk about sex, even though I personally feel we should. I'm saying normalize talking about other people and learning the respectful way to talk to them about their sexual orientation, their gender identity, and the fact that they're both 2 different things. So what do you as an individual, and we can just kind of go, what do you consider bisexuality? Let's start with Tristan. He looks like he wants to say
gosh.
Yep.
I was just here. Okay, so first I want to say I'm a firm believer in you should refer to someone in whatever terms they choose to describe themselves.
They choose. I agree.
So whatever that, and so even if what I may not think is bisexuality, someone else, we may disagree on the definition. If they call themselves a bisexual, that's what I'm going to refer. I'm going to defer to them because you know you better than I know you.
Absolutely.
So for me personally, I always felt like bisexuality was somebody who was genuinely attracted to both genders. And when I say genuinely, I mean like I've had sexual experiences with women, but I'm not going to call myself bisexual just because I've had sexual experience with women 2 handfuls of times.
Does that make 2 handfuls? That's a lot.
2 handfuls.
That's one of me, dog, and I'm like remade.
They got another 2. Come on. He said 2 handfuls. Yeah. Goodness gracious. That's a whole life.
Like kind of in a regular way in my regular dating life, I deal with men. I like men for the most part. That's what I'm attracted to. So I would not personally describe myself as bisexual. So usually if someone says they are, my assumption is you kind of are into both sexes equally or semi-equally. I know people who describe themselves as bisexual don't always feel that way, but that's where I've always taken it in my head, if that makes sense.
So then what would you consider yourself?
I'm gay. I like penis. I'm a whole homosexual.
Even all right, well that's one way to put it. Even with the double handful of
and I'll explain. I'm gonna tell all my business.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Come back
to that. I hear you, Sam. Lakovia, what do you consider? What would be your definition?
So I guess my definition is a little shallow because I just think, if you dabble in the little different things, then you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like you gotta genuinely want this one and
do what you do.
Things happen at a time, you know what I mean? You can't really
I love her definition. I'm gonna change mine to fit that one. Okay, Mo.
All right, so I want to go pull up the dictionary.
Oh God! Oh,
yeah,
I always got to. I told you about the references. I tried to warn you.
By definition, this is from Oxford Languages. Bisexuality is the quality of or characteristic of being sexually attracted non-exclusively to people of one particular gender. That's what it says.
Non-exclusively is what mean. Okay.
Yeah.
So that definition is interesting. I had a recent discussion with someone, and we were talking about the difference between being pansexual and being bisexual. A bisexual person, I think, as a bisexual man, is someone who's attracted to both by men and women, right? I'm sorry, both men and women. I consider a pansexual to be someone. We can't see that, Nick. Just type it in the private chat. You so ratchet.
I just wanted to shout out to all my boys that are watching. All the gamers rise up for your national anthem.
Just for that too. Anyway, so basically,
I didn't even get to finish. But, okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
All right, so that's the listed definition, which I think is the best definition. I think what a lot of confusion has happened is that there's such a stigma, particularly with guys, but as well as women in some arenas. But there's a stigma with being bisexual that they have to. It's for a long time had been equated to being a hoe, someone that's promiscuous. So there was an added name called pansexual, whereas basically they're stating that I don't find love with genitals. I find love with the person. So by saying that, they're trying to say I am bi, but I'm not a hoe. But that's just my personal opinion. Because now the bis are like, wait a minute, well, how did we become biracial? Like, what about the bis? And that's where the controversy is.
Before I want to right before the question, I want to respond to this comment that just came up on the screen. It says, do you guys feel like it's important to present education based on general information versus your personal experience, as not to confuse the general public that may not be well informed? So my response to that is essentially, me as an individual, I can only tell my personal experience. That's what I have. So the point of this is not to necessarily educate people on anything that's right or wrong. It's to get the conversation started and to get people willing to go pick up a dictionary or go ask someone instead of just assuming and it's staying in the shadows. So is everything we about to say over here PC? Probably not. We got a lot of different opinions in here, okay? But I think the point is that to inspire people to ask the kind of questions they should ask. Anyway, go ahead, Nick.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna kind of just take it my own way here, but I'll start off by saying, like, I don't understand. I'm straight in every sense of the word, pretty much as it goes. I don't. That's pretty much all I have on that. But so I don't really understand like how being gay or bi or whatever whatever you denote yourself as. I don't understand how that comes to be. I don't understand where you're coming from or why you made that decision or why you feel that way. I try to have sympathy and empathy. I try to understand, and I also try not to like oppress in any way. But I think one of the biases or the double standards comes from toxic masculinity, which I think is an interesting topic. But I think bisexual men face toxic masculinity all the time because, especially with the way the culture is going now and the military, even the military culture is separate from normal social culture. But you have it's very like you got to be big, strong man. You got to lift lots of weight. You got to shoot lots of guns. You got to be you got to have the wife, the kids. You got to mow your own damn lawn. You better fly that flag. That kind of stuff. And toxic masculinity may be different for some people, but they treat men like, oh, you don't just like women, like you might be into dudes too. Like that's a problem. Like it affects them in some way. Or they look at you as a lesser person, regardless of your standing in every other sense of life. And it's driven by a lot of factors, but I think toxic masculinity in general is part of the problem with bisexual men. Now, why there's double standards?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Women,
but
are you trying to come?
Yeah, no, we'll get to that.
No, okay, yeah. I was gonna say, so men who are straight watch porn. That there's a couple of women getting it on. They don't care. They think that's cool. They don't say a word about it. Mm-hmm. They don't have no problem with that shit. You talk about doing the other thing. The other gender getting on the other gender, that is not cool with straight dudes. That's not cool.
And we'll definitely get more in depth into that. Tanya, what do you think?
Wait. Can I?
I'm going to come to you. I'm going to come to you. Look, I got a pen and a piece of paper. We got 8 people on this thing. So you need to write your comment down and let me go around the circle. Got it. Tanya, I'm sorry. That was you kind of got misdirected anger. That was kind of directed at Connor, but not at Connor, at Cowley. But anyway, right. Go ahead, Tanya.
Right. So a lot of people think that bisexuality is about sex, but for me, it's about the people I'm able to actually love, be intimate with, have a relationship, as in husband, wife, whether that person is a male or female. So that's where I come from when I think of bisexuality. You might experiment, you might do things for fun, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're bisexual or gay or any specific term that you want to give it. If you're capable of loving whichever gender, then you might be bisexual.
See, I like that, y'all. She answered the question.
I like that.
It took three.
I'm sorry.
It took
I
3
must
seconds.
have missed the question. I must have totally missed the question. That's exactly what I would have said. I have a very cut and dry feeling on it. I just want to say that I'm not trying to steal. I'm not trying to steal her thunder. That's I like. Hey, if you like both genders, you might be bisexual. That might be how that works for me. That's probably how I'll consider it.
Please go, Connor. Go
ahead.
I just wanted to say, in response to what Nick said, I know you didn't mean it the way that I think it was phrased, but you should avoid saying the decision that you make when it comes to sexuality, just because it's not. I don't know. I don't think it's.
Well, I mean, you have to actively make the decision to go have sex if you're a man with another man, right? I don't now what behind that decision. I don't know what if you were. I don't understand the born that way thing. I don't understand if you decide later in life to be gay. I'm not saying I understand any of that or how it works or that it is one or the other. I'm just saying the physical act of deciding to have physical relations with the same gender or someone who identifies as the same gender, because now we like whatever way that came about. I'm saying that decision, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I don't understand. I won't be able to understand.
I want to say something really quick because so that's what Connor's trying to say basically is when you and Tanya's saying that bisexuality is not about sex. It's not about the sexual act. It's about who you're attracted to. That is not a choice. So you said you're straight. Wait. You said you're straight in every sense of the word. That isn't a choice. That's just how you are. That's what it is. No. So for a man who is attracted to both, he knows that whether he ever tells or acts on it. A lot of people never come out of the closet, ever. But and then they live inside. They live very I want to say sad, but I would assume it's a very sad feeling to feel like part of you has to be shielded. So when the term that he's trying to get you to understand, Callie, is that when you say make a decision, what it means is that it's like, oh, I could choose who I can be attracted to because of the thought that it's a choice who you're, and that's not the case.
No. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but like the way the person is wired is like that behind that is a whole nother conversation. I think that's an entirely another conversation.
By the way,
that's like something we don't understand how the brain works. By the way, like that's totally different.
I want to get the question in, Tristan. I hear you. Write it down.
Oh no,
I'm right. Okay. So, what was the? Yeah. Sam, talk to me.
So what is bisexuality?
What do you consider it to be?
I would have to agree with Tanya. It's if you, I guess I think it's interesting that the seemingly probably more straight people are saying it's just if you're experimenting, and then the people that are like gay or I don't know, more ingrained in that are saying it's more about like the emotional. So I think that's interesting. And I just want to, I guess, comment on that.
Nice. Mo, did you already go? You already went, didn't you?
Yeah.
My bad.
But I mean,
didn't go. Connor, you didn't go.
I got ahead though.
Connor
I
didn't.
I didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
I just
answer the question. Yeah, you're the last. I'm old. I told you.
Whatever.
I think I'm more on the side of Mo's dictionary definition than Tanya's definition. Yeah. I think I'm gonna leave it at that for now and like kind of
which is your
on that as you add more to the question.
Okay, so I want to explain something really quick. Does anyone know what the Kinsey scale is?
Yes, I have it up.
I do.
So the Kinsey scale, for anyone who's watching at home and does not know what the Kinsey scale is, I'm going to kind of summarize now. I'm not a professor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no degree. I have a degree, but not in this. So Kinsey scale is basically a scale that talks about sexual orientation, attraction, basically saying that, 1 to 10, 1 being that you're totally attracted to the opposite sex. I don't know if it's 1 or 10, but 1 way is that you're
0 to 7.
I'm just giving the gist of it. So one side of the
term.
scale means that you're all the way attracted to the opposite sex, and the other side of the scale means that you're all the way attracted to the same sex. or gender. Sorry. Now, the theory is that most people don't fall on one extreme or the other. They fall somewhere in the middle. And that a bisexual person typically would be a 5 in theory, right? So, but most people fall somewhere in the middle, possibly because you can't help but to have attraction to both sexes. That's why you can look in the mirror and tell whether you look cute or not.
Exactly.
And that's why and because you have both male and female influences, literally, that's all there is to have. You can't help but to pick up tendencies of both your mother and your father, your sister and your brother. It's something that happens by just existing in this double gendered world. So it's just not as it's not as easy as gay, straight, or bisexual.
Right.
So that's why people ask why there's so many labels in the LGBTQIA plus. It's because of that. Like, it's not just so simple to squeeze everybody into this little box and say you're this, or that. So having said
you better
that,
know all the letters. Yes.
That wasn't all the letters.
I got like that basic.
That wasn't even all the letters.
It wasn't even all the letters. I would have had
But
to.
you put the plus on the end, so you good.
People at home, if you don't know all the letters, you say LGBTQIA plus. And you good.
Can I say LGBT or LGBTQT?
LGBT.
I'm sorry, I have a speech impediment. Basically, can I add the plus sooner? Because no. I'm not gonna be able to learn the new one.
Plus got to go at the
end.
They got to go at the end.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying it's hard. It's hard.
IA is what is the IA?
Intersex.
Intersex. And A is allied. The beautiful thing about the A
is asexual. A is not allied.
There's 2 A's. There's asexual and allied.
Yes. What is allied?
There's 2. Allied means that you're a straight. Allied means you're a straight person who is allied with gay people, and you support.
Oh, so I'm in.
And walk around too much.
Cool.
And walk home just said, "Ooh, girl."
Oh, should I walk that back? Should I walk that back?
All right, listen. Okay. So having said that, would you date someone, you specifically, who was openly bisexual? Why and why not? Before we say that, I'm going to read y'all some statistics because I like statistics. If I can find them, because I think I lost that. I closed out of that screen, but I got it written in my notes. Okay, it says bisexual adults are far less likely to be out than their friends and family members as compared to gay and lesbian people. It said as far as 19% are still closeted as opposed to, 19% are out as opposed to 75% of gay and lesbians that are out. And then 26% of bisexual people are not out their whole life. And 4% of gay and lesbian people actually come out. So considering that, if a person was openly bisexual, would you date them? Yes or no? Just quick yes or no.
Wait, because somebody put in the comments saying, "Ask me."
Ask me.
Yeah, ask Mo.
Okay, go ahead, Mo.
So the quick answer, yes, and later on I'll tell you why. All right.
Okay, great. Cowley. Quick answer.
I'll say yes, but I got a lot more than that.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
Go ahead.
Me is yes. Tristan.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tanya.
If I was single, yes.
Okay. Connor.
Oh yeah, if I was single.
If I was single, yes.
Look, save yourself. Save your do what you gotta do.
I love you. I'm just gonna come in here.
Sam.
Sorry. It would
just tell the truth.
It would be a case. It would be a case.
You mean whether it was a man or a woman?
Just I guess like the outward characteristics of like what that means.
I want to come back to you. Back to you.
Okay.
Kovia. I already know the answer.
I'm gonna go with no.
Okay. Okay. Look, and that's fine. That's fine. All right. You're allowed to feel that way. Okay. Ooh, throw this one up. Boo. Hey.
I hope she didn't hear the part about fucking Lizzo or I'm doomed. That's about to be the only thing in the house.
Okay, so having said that, so I'm gonna first talk to Sam and Lacovia, because I personally have found, as an openly bisexual man, the one thing that is impossible to do is date a woman, especially a black one. Lord Jesus! Oh my God!
Wait a minute!
It's hard. They don't want to date me. They don't want to date me because I'm openly bisexual. I'm telling you the truth. There's been times where I played the whole flirting game. I'm talking about, man, I'm getting cute before I go to rehearsal. I wear sweats to rehearsal, but she gonna be there, so I'm like, oh, I gotta spray cologne and stuff. we played the whole, you know how when you flirt with somebody, you stand and you keep bumping into me with your shoulders. Like, so cool. So one day we're sitting in my car and I'm like, so what's good? What's going on? She's like, I mean, you're cute and I think you're a great guy, but no, it's not gonna happen. so I was just like, womp womp. That's happened to me like the last 3 times I tried to date a female. Dudes don't care. They don't care. But females do. So I want to know why it is, why you would be deterred from dating an openly bisexual man. Feel free to say no comment, but I would like for you to comment because that's why we're here. Lakovia, you're going first.
Yeah,
you're going
true.
first.
I guess because personally, me, I'm kind of hard. Like not hard, but
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And I have to have someone that can handle me, like shut the fuck up sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to have that.
Why she sound like Megan Thee Stallion?
Because sometimes I don't know when to. So it's like I can't be with someone that's, I mean, maybe if he wasn't feminine kinda, then I could probably deal with it. But I can't deal with the feminine part of it.
Okay. You mean as in a relationship?
Right.
Okay. But do you understand that? Go ahead, Sam.
That's why I say it depends on the characteristics.
So you could date a bisexual man if he was outwardly masculine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call bullshit on both of y'all.
And y'all done low key already dated a bisexual man anyway.
Right. First of all, thank you.
Probably.
Second of all, I probably would not have said this 10 years. Like this has been a changed opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not something I would have. You would have been absolutely right. Probably even 5 years ago. But through my divorce and like through learning about a lot about like life and relationships and love and all that other stuff, I look at all of that kind of different now. And so as long as it's like, as long as I'm not looking at you like I can't, like I still have to feel like personally I still have to feel like you're the man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And
so I feel like
so
I want to say something really quick before you keep going into this. 2 things. I want to read that comment too. But first I want to say, so I did a little research because I don't like homework. So the article I read said bi men are more jealous when dating a woman than when they're dating a man. Specifically because, this is what the study said, because they're more worried about a woman getting pregnant and they don't have to worry about that with a man. It was talking about a study. Biologically, that fear of having to question if the child was theirs is greater. So if they're in a relationship with a woman, the jealousy is higher, right? So having said that, I kind of want to, what's that question? Or I kind of want to go into here right here. So the question was, do y'all, from someone in the comments, do y'all think not being bi attracted makes you biphobic?
No. Oh my God, no.
Definitely not.
Talk about why.
Because you can't. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I would never consider myself transphobic. I could not date a trans, when I say trans man, like female to male trans man, I couldn't date one because I like penis and they don't. I'm just being like, I physically like penises and they don't.
Is it weird that penis freaks me out more than dick? The fact that he's that word choice.
The word? Really?
Every time he says
that, it's just me too. It's shocking. It gets me every time. I could be doing something else. He says
That's
it.
what
I just
it
shoot
is.
right up. Like, what are you saying?
Every time he said, I'm like,
I don't think what you're attracted to can't make, just because you fail to be attracted to something doesn't mean you have a problem with it or don't like it. It's just not.
It's not your
what
cup
you
of tea.
want.
But that's a very thin line. The reason I said it's a thin line is because and then somebody said, the same person, JC said it in the comments. He said he asked because there's a part of the community, LGBTQIA+, that is very vocal in that standpoint. And I feel like there's a lot of that because, like, living in Atlanta for a long time, it was that a black dude is not going to date a white. I don't like white dudes, and white dudes are like, I don't like black dudes. And some people say that's a preference. Some people say that's racist discrimination. Same thing here. Is it phobia if you can't like? Because me personally, I'm not going to say no. I consider myself bisexual. However, I've seen some beautiful trans people. So I can't say yes, I would never be. I can't say no that I would never be a trans attracted or, you know, anything like that. But I still consider myself bi. I think it is. I think it is a phobia when it is coupled with a lot of hate and a lot of
fear
and fear and all that.
Why
stuff.
do you have to look at why do I feel that way? Why don't if you're not attracted to a black person? Why are you not attracted to a black person? I had a black guy one time tell me he didn't like dating other black men because he grew up with brothers and he was a very like kind of hood dude, and he felt like every black dude he met, he just felt a brother kind of connection.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That made sense to me, and I was cool with that. But then I met another guy who's white, and he told me, well, you know, you're cool, but I'm not into black guys. I said, well, why? He's talking about how he didn't like the way that black skin and white skin looked against each other. He didn't like the texture, right? Didn't like the texture, like just what, like
the texture
why?
of what? Never mind.
This is scientific with it, I guess.
The texture of black skin. He didn't like. Oh, trust. We had right. The texture of black hair, like. He said he didn't like the way that black dude smell, and I smell good. Let's just be very clear.
Black dudes always smell like cocoa butter. What do you mean?
I smell good as fuck. I buy expensive cologne. I do all the
it is true,
skincare.
Callie. We always smell like cocoa butter.
Let's not lie. There's some ashy black people out here. So let's not even tell that lie.
Half of the viewers just looked at their feet.
It's like,
yeah. Okay.
So, can I reply?
Absolutely.
I disagree, and I think that it is partially biphobic because being bisexual isn't a physical element or really an emotional element. It's just kind of is what it is. And I think that's kind of what Kovia and Sam's hesitation on dating a bisexual man is society in general has kind of put any male-on-male homosexuality in a box of being demasculating. Like, they're worried about the masculinity of that man when there are plenty of very masculine gay men. There are plenty of very masculine bisexual men. Whereas, to an extent, girl-on-girl homosexuality has been defeminized, but not to the same extent as the demasculation, I believe, of men.
My thing is this, though. I'm sorry. Keep going, buddy.
I'm sorry. I just think it is like slightly, but I think phobia is again like a very it's a strong word, so people are like, no, it's not biphobic. I just don't. I'm not interested. But I think the connotations of why you wouldn't be interested in that, is societally based and like incorrect.
I mean, I personally like there's a weird. I'm weird when it comes to like who and what I'm attracted to. Like, people ask me my type, and I'm always like, I mean, I could tell you what I think ideally I would put, but then there's plenty of times where I've been with somebody, I'd be like, you know what, they kind of fine in the right light with the right amount of drinks. They kind of fine. So to me, I don't like the rigidity of labels, but I get that's why I don't feel like it's a biphobia thing, because to me it's like there's a fine line between preference and discrimination. I want to say that first.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I get being like, cause me personally, I'd rather here. I'm just be flat out and be straight up. When it comes to girls, I like black girls for the most part. When it comes to dudes, I like white dudes for the most part. However, if it's a black dude, I like him to be like, if it's a black dude, you got me motherfucking thug. And that's weird, right? It's weird. But these aren't my point. Oh no, because in pornos, that's not what it be. That's not what it be in pornos. Look, don't
but that's not.
I don't want to know. Okay.
I'm a creature of the internet. And I know that. Yeah, you're right.
That's all immediately identifiable. I'm asking Kovia or Sam, if you met a guy, were attracted to him, and then later found out he was bisexual, that wouldn't be a discouragement for you, is what I'm taking it as. So I think that doesn't really fall under phobia, but the fact that if you knew beforehand that he was bisexual and that would give you hesitation, that should show you that that mindset is incorrect.
So let me ask that.
Yeah, I think those are one and the same. I
So let me
agree.
ask you a question, Sam. Did I just forgot? Oh Lord. Oh yeah. Okay. So when is a good? So if you were dating a dude, when is a good time to tell him? I'm sorry, for him to tell you that he's bi. Like, so y'all met on Thursday at the bar, right? And then you like, and so numbers exchange, go on a date or two. When is it time for him to tell you that?
See,
Ben.
I'm of the opinion the from the beginning is always the best. And
But do straight men do that? Do straight dudes tell you
it
like?
doesn't it doesn't
because that's
matter.
assumed, right?
It doesn't, like, for me, it doesn't matter if you're.
Oh no.
Oh.
Right in the middle of the
Sam.
sentence.
Go ahead, Lacovia. You answer
Come
it.
back.
She'll come back. She'll come back. Answer it while she's gone. She'll come back.
Okay, so my opinion is I would want to know in the beginning. I mean, of course, we're not going to talk about that in the bar when we're exchanging numbers because
Right.
we're kicking it. And
Yeah.
then, but you know, once we kick it, like if we're like, okay, you texting me, let's meet up, and we talking, I need to know those things. Then, and then I can come up with my own interpretation. If I'm feeling you, you know, it could work. But if it just depends.
And it doesn't matter if it's about your sexuality or who you're living with, or if you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or like whatever, like whether you're straight or bisexual. I'm gonna be real with you from the jump, and I expect you to be real with me from the jump. And if you're not, that is a problem. And if you can't be real with me from the beginning, when are you ever gonna be honest with me?
Can I ask a question? Like I said, a quick, serious question.
Well, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
When y'all be getting with, let's say you meet somebody and y'all like each other, nobody is running down their sexual history with me. I'm just being honest. Like that's not a real thing. So for me, it don't really matter because if I meet somebody, unless we're getting into some deep relationship where we're having conversations about exes and relationships and people we've dated, who I slept with before I met you isn't really relevant unless I've contracted something and I need to tell you, hey, I have this. You should know that I have this.
And to that point, you're so right. We shouldn't even, Duria shouldn't even have to ask me that question.
See, JC said,
you have to ask.
So, but right, that's what I'm saying. He had to ask because as a culture, that is an issue.
Especially in our culture. Yeah.
So now you're saying, okay, well, you know, it shouldn't happen. I agree. Like Duria shouldn't even have to ask that question. But the truth is, that is how our culture is.
Let me ask the question to the whole group. Anyone can answer it. So, do you consider, and we kind of touched on it, do you consider someone who's had like one experience with a person of the same gender? Do you consider them bisexual?
No.
No.
Even after 2 times, no.
No,
even
after talk about it.
So then what?
Even after 3 times, no.
Other than what Tristan said, like, you know, really it is, to me, it's like I have my own criteria for what I consider bisexual, but I'm gonna call you whatever you want to be called, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to me, when is too many times, 2 handfuls, or what, before you can call somebody bisexual?
Here's the thing with this, and it's a double standard, and it sucks. With bisexual men, they're equated to being less than masculine if they've had any type of situation with a man.
Right.
It sucks.
Sure.
It is what it is.
Right.
Just like on the side with women, yes, it's more acceptable. However, a lot of men, this is coming from one of my good friends is bisexual, so he tells me these issues all the time on the men's side. When she gets with men and tells them up front that she's bisexual, they don't take her seriously as far as being in a relationship. On the women's side, if you decide to date a lesbians, my people, I don't know why, but we have an issue. Just like with straight women have an issue with bisexual men, lesbians have a humongous issue with bisexual women.
Really?
I've heard this before.
Spill the tea.
Particularly in the African American lesbian community.
Yes,
I've
heard this.
There is a rumor
We're
that
traitors.
Well, no, not just that. there is an ingrained is idiotic sense that bisexual women bring diseases into the community, which is a lie. Yes, yes, and with masculine of center studs, whoever you want to call them, they love to say, "Oh, well, I don't go behind dick." I said, "Yeah."
I've heard that.
Right, but the thing that kills
And
me
nobody
is
flinched when she said it, though.
right. But the thing that kills me is those are the same type of studs or masculine center lesbians that will go up and try to turn a straight woman out. So it's extremely myopic because to me, I believe full-heartedly in Kinsey's that study, because basically it's a bell curve with sexuality as well as gender identity. It's not an either or. It's just not. People have certain, have certain behaviors. Like there's certain feminine behaviors that I'm sure everyone on this cast has done. Come on, give face. Yes,
I know.
Face.
But here's
even you, Nick. I know you straight as a board.
No, I agree with you. I'm on that bell curve. I recognize real. When I see a handsome ass dude, I'm like, damn, like that. Yo, Beth, get back in the motherfucking car. Like, don't look at that guy.
Listen, somebody in the comments said that. Somebody in the comments said this is the. It was where I want to find the comment. It was where is it at? Armani again. Oh yeah, we were talking about when is the best time to tell someone that you're bisexual. He said when they are out and about. During the when you're out and about, he should casually compliment some random guy's appearance. And that's
who is Armani? He was cute. Can we bring him back up?
Yo, Braden, you got a nice beard, bro.
You have a nice beard, yeah. But here's the other caveat when we talk about biphobia and even transphobia. There's a difference. There is a huge difference because when you're dealing with transphobia, there is a certain level of danger and fear when trans people are telling their tea. Because there is unfortunately, when you come to the LGBTQ rainbow, when it comes to people getting hurt, transgender people, particularly Black or women of color, transgender, are the ones that are hurt the most when it comes to hate crimes.
Yeah.
So they have to take in their own safety into question when they're telling somebody their tea. So no, they're probably not going to tell you on the first date. Now I have when I was at a gay club, this has happened years ago, and I was like, "Damn, girl, you were sexy," and she was like, "Oh, honey, I'm trans." I was like, "Okay, all right, I respect that because it's
you look good though." But like,
you look real good.
Yeah.
Sis, you look real good.
Yeah.
So I'm on, even though I am, very, very liberal with a lot of my thought process and ideologies. At the same time, I am a lesbian, and I do want the physical, actual vagina. And
you with these educational correct terms today are freaking me out.
I'm just saying.
You was whooping at the beginning.
Yeah, there's something about that
yoni.
Ooh, my lord.
Okay, guys.
But yeah.
Actually, we're going to take a quick break, come back and answer one question, and head off into our final thoughts. Stick with us. The break will be like about 1 minute. All right. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jessalyn Pease Garrett, author of Timeless, The Law of the Coven, my new book that came out August 1st of this year. This is the second in the Timeless series, and it features a teenage witch. She's going to hone her magical abilities, and we're going to pit her against a dark coven of witches. So I hope you enjoy this book as much as I enjoyed writing it. Timeless, The Law of the Coven is available online from all your favorite retailers. Thanks, guys.
What am I actually telling my body? And the things that our body needs to survive, you can't weigh it down with all that junk, all the chips, cookies, cakes, and pies. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. And I know for me, that's my struggle. My weakness is sweets. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I had already planned when I got this video to make a run to Del Taco real quick and get one of them sweet cheesecake bites. Let me tell y'all something. Them things will make you slap your mama. They so good. Lord have mercy. Is that drool? That done got me drooling.
That is a clip from the Mompreneur Plugs vlog. You can follow her. That's Tamara Lovett. She's hilarious. She's got all the good life hacks for moms, for entrepreneurs. She's a business owner. She's a maven. She's doing it big. And you can follow her on the Mompreneur Plug, MOMPRENEUR Plug on YouTube. Her channel is absolutely excellent. All right, so we're going to do one more question, and then we're going to go into our final thoughts. So the last question I want to ask is about cheating, because that's really what a lot of people are, I think, most afraid of, right? Are they going to cheat on me? Do you think it is more or less likely for someone, do you think it's more or less likely for someone to be, what's the word when you don't cheat? Not infidel. Is that the word?
Infidelity?
Faithful.
Faithful. That's the
Not
word.
faithful.
Do you expect less commitment from a person if they are bisexual or than if they are monogamous? I'm sorry, or if they are heterosexual. Sorry.
Can I answer that?
I mean,
Sure.
I heard somebody, but sure, go ahead.
Oh no, if somebody else said something, I don't know if I heard. Maybe I don't want to interrupt anybody.
I was just going to say that it doesn't. The person is whatever the relationship is going to be. That's what it needs to be. If it's going to be an open relationship, both people need to be exclusive, need to be on board with that. If you're going to be exclusive, then you need to be on board with that. Yep. The whoever you're attracted to has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Callie.
So as you guys might have seen, I'm a huge baseball fan. So, analytics and statistics is a thing I really enjoy. You could make an argument that statistically, yes, a person who's bisexual may be more more likely to cheat on you, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's just dependent on the person. But yeah, like JC was saying, being open about like, hey, I would want to be in an open relationship, or I am bisexual, would need to come with part of being, the consent of having a relationship that involves sex. And no, I don't think it plays a role in whether they would cheat more often than not.
Go ahead, Connor.
I understand people's fears of not being able to provide that organ, because if you're attracted to both, like the person that you're with, but like me personally, I'm in a monogamous relationship. I don't fully know where I identify on that spectrum, but I have had encounters with men, and I don't really think that you can equate sexual attraction to sexual requirement. Like, you can be attracted to something without needing it. Like, I am perfectly happy in my monogamous relationship, and even though that attraction does exist, like there's not a need for it. Like, you don't have to. It goes back to what Nick said, where like it's a matter of acting on it. Like, if you're in a monogamous relationship and you're heterosexual, your chances of cheating with another woman are equal to the chances of me looking at a man and going out and doing something. Like, there's really not a difference. So I don't think that there should be any extra worry. It's just, I think the partner's feeling. I think it's the partner's feeling of not being able to provide the wants of their partner.
Okay.
Hold up. I see somebody's comment.
Which comment? Because somebody are shady in these comments.
They're probably popping off right now.
People are shady as hell.
Pull up a comment about fun.
With Alicia's comment?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of fun.
Let me get it.
Yes, yeah, you just had it. Come on, bring it back up. I've seen a lot of fun amongst gay men community, but not so much commitment. Okay, let me. I don't see a lot of commitment with men, period, regardless of their sexuality.
I feel personally attacked.
So, like, I don't understand how is that a compass on whether gay or bisexual people are going to be more dealing with commitment, because I get you want being shady, but the comment still remains what you said. if you're gonna talk about gay men, you're gonna have to talk about straight men as well, because there's plenty of straight men out there that be looking out there to cheat.
What I agree with is
it's a stick wet. Come on now.
Santasha just pretty much spoke the truth. Okay, black men don't cheat. We don't cheat. It's impossible. It's statistically impossible. It's a myth. It's a lie. It's news.
Okay.
That ain't true. There ain't no way.
Anybody saying that black men cheat, they're liars. They're writing
no way.
fake news. They out here trying to besmear our names. We are good, wholesome men. We basically pick one partner and stick with that person the rest of our lives.
Wait.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right.
When did we go down?
That's confirmation bias is what it sounds like.
I don't know what y'all talk about. And when I edit this video, I'm gonna edit y'all all going, yep,
So I just want to say, I feel like if a person is loyal, they're loyal, and if they have the need to cheat, they have the need to cheat. Like I feel when
once again, I do want to give a shout out to my godfather who's in the comments. He has been with his partner for 20 years. 20 years. They have a child. They live in a house. They're very they're pretty much that couple that moved on to Wisteria Lane in Desperate Housewives, but they a little more chill. Yeah. So there's definitely monogamous relationships that happen in the gay community. It's just a choice, though. It's a choice, like, especially after a certain amount of time. Like, fun is fun, but I'm willing Jada with my fun. Like, we can have fun together. Okay.
But I also think too, some of that is what people are exposed to. I think in popular culture, you just often see gay, like when you see gay dudes, it's them clubbing, it's them having fun. On the flip side of that, there are plenty of gay guys who are just like Pete Buttigieg and his husband Chad, where it's them married with a dog and they're super vanilla, super chilling, super normal, super regular, prescribing the heterosexual norms in terms of how they conduct their relationships.
True.
And from a sociality perspective, I think with more time, that since marriage equality has become legal, that you'll see those more as the norm as opposed to the outliers. Yeah, and I think there was a lot of that stigma of gay men just wanting to party all the time, is that, well, they didn't have that level of getting married. So it's out there kind of with that Peter Pan syndrome. Just basically, I don't want to grow up. I'm going to do what I love, and that's
a big point of it. Only recently, literally less than a decade ago, gay men weren't allowed to get married. So that idea wasn't even. Of course, why am I going to think about having that kind of a relationship? Or gay women. I'm sorry, yes, and gay women. And then when it comes to when the AIDS epidemic hit, people were worried about whether they were going to die or not. So they weren't thinking about the idea of setting up a house and a picket fence and that. But now that it's a reality for gay men, of course, but the thing about it is they're not putting that on the news. They're not putting that on the news. They're putting Pride on the news where everybody's twerking, which they should be allowed to do. But that's what's on you know what I'm saying? The point is that's not interesting to watch. It's not interesting to watch, a very calm, peaceful, like chill ass, boring. Sorry for no shade, but that's what it would be presented as. They want to show the gay that is provocative. And so I think that's where it gets a bad rep. I personally think it is a person-to-person thing. I think relationships should be characterized by the actions of the people in them and what they decide fits for them best. So I personally don't think, but it goes back to the honesty. Like me personally, I don't really. Mo did not try to come for you, Alicia. Oh, you did? Okay, then. Okay, oh, my bad. Y'all can,
all right.
Y'all can talk about it later.
I did. Yeah. We can talk about it offline. At Pro. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Sam. I just finish my little answer real quick?
Yeah.
I feel like if people cheat, it's because they're trying to fulfill something within them, or there's some deficit that they haven't dealt with within themselves. So for the most part, they're out there looking for something they're never going to fulfill until they look inside. So I don't think it's a sexuality thing. Yeah, I guess statistically they have more options, but I think it really is the person. Are you someone that is committed to your word and your relationship, or are you someone that does what you want to do when the moment sways you.
And the bottom line is we're all people. It's some of the factors are age, where you're at in life, and how old you are, and what you want to experiment with, or how you've settled into a certain age and you want to be a certain way. Then we're all just people.
Okay, so I think that's actually a great place to head into our final thoughts. Our final thoughts are basically at the end of the show, we like to tell the viewers either what you have left with, oh, I came away from this conversation being totally changed about this, or what you think or hope they have left this conversation having grown from. So let's start with, I'm gonna start with Tristan.
Oh gosh, I wasn't ready for that. Okay.
I know, it's okay. It's okay.
This was a good time. I hope everybody at least heard something that kind of gave them some knowledge they didn't know before, made them think about things in a way they didn't before. I know that I personally did. I hope that more than anything, because I think it's necessary in the world, people see that a bunch of people can get together and not agree, but still respect each other, have conversation, and get along. Because I genuinely feel like the one thing that will make the world better if we all learn how to talk to each other, listen to each other, and not talk at each other.
Yes, say that. Miss Tanya.
Well, if I am invited back, I will bring something stronger than water.
Hey,
yes, yes. All right.
I had a great time, but I didn't change my thoughts on sexuality at all. But when it came to the Donald Trump conversations and some of the other stuff about white guilt, it gave me some food for thought, and I'll think about that a little bit more, and we'll see what happens from there.
Awesome. Mo, hook us up.
No, I want to be last.
Okay, she can do that just because she's like the senior member. Well, actually, Sam is, but I'm gonna let her do that because I know her for a long
this
time.
thing, man. I don't know. You might be the host, but she runs
I'm fine. That's less work for me. Okay.
Yeah.
Every great black man is a black woman. Did you know that?
That's what they say. All right. Speaking of black women, let's go, Kovia. You on mute, babe?
Oh no.
She said, "Oh shit."
I'm always saying, "Oh shit," right?
I got a lip reading.
This was like a whole vibe, though. I thought this was real cute. I learned a lot, and I'm gonna keep what I learned a little bit to myself. But I learned a lot, and I'm gonna use what I learned. So I know. Thank y'all. This was good. I like this. I'm gonna tell everybody to watch it for real.
Okay, bet. And then next time we're gonna get you on for the whole episode because you missed a lot of the good stuff in the beginning.
Half of the damn show, but
I know.
You know.
Hey, but you made it and you rolled out, so I appreciate that. Callie,
am I allowed to promote myself a little bit?
Absolutely. Should have did that at the beginning of the show.
Hey, everybody love everybody. No matter what, you disagree, it's cool. It's okay to vote third party. You don't have to take the lesser of two evils. Research a candidate you like. You can vote whoever you want. You don't have to vote down party lines. It's okay. And hey, you want to watch me on Twitch? You can come in chat, talk about this shit. It's cool. We'll have a lot of fun. We won't take it too seriously. It'll be lighthearted. Nobody will get mad at each other. That's cool, man. We got a sub button now too. Come rock it in chat. It's a good time.
Great. Don't vote third party.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't do it.
This time.
Not this time, probably not. No, not this time. It ain't gonna work this time.
We should do a show about that.
Sam, we should. Sam.
Thank you for having me as always. I love this. It brings me so much joy and entertainment, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it. But I guess my final thoughts for this episode is just we can't judge anyone, right? Like, we all deal with things differently, and we all have our preferences, and that's okay too. But just, before you start to like jump to conclusions or anything, just take the time to like explore it a little bit. You never know what will come of that.
Excellent. I like that one. Connor.
Uh-oh.
I got it. Well, first off, thanks for
Absolutely.
having me. Like I was in New York at the beginning of March, and then when I moved to Atlanta, it was like right when COVID was picking up here. So I have been starved for human connection, like for months now. So this has been like really great. As far as my opinions changing, they haven't too much. As far as the main question, I do think there is a disparity between bi acceptance between men and women. I think that we do live in a patriarchy, and because of that, attraction to women has been normalized by heterosexual men who lead the patriarchy, whereas attraction to men hasn't been. But if anyone's watching were to take anything away, I think it's just like it's clearly a difficult topic to ingest, and if it applies to you, don't expect it to like come overnight. It's a growing experience, and be patient and keep an open heart.
All right. And since she had to go last, Mo, hook us up.
Final thoughts. If you're gonna vote third party, you have to do it structurally right. Meaning they're gonna have to learn how to start at the bottom and then continue to work their way up to the top. So local, TV, local, state, commissioner, secretary of state.
Just show that it works.
Get those positions first, then we'll start talking about.
Yes, let's show that it's okay.
Because the last person that was viable was what was the little shorty name from '92?
Oh, Jesus.
Ross Perot. Thank you.
Yeah. Dallas's own Ross Perot.
Right. The only thing Ross Perot accomplished was basically taking away George Bush Sr.'s second term. That's it. But anywho, tonight has been amazing. Thank you for allowing me to be on the panel once again. Also, Miss Alicia, I know you said you don't want me to read you online or offline. It's all love. I did come from you a little harshly, but that's because there's a soft spot base in my heart for Black men, and I mean all Black men, regardless of what your
praise him
is. So yeah, so I'm gonna fight, and I'm also gonna critique when we both do wrong. So whether you're a man or a woman, I'm gonna speak on it. So I still hope it's all love. Definitely check out my social medias at Mo Smith Pro and all of them, whether it's IG, Twitter, Facebook, and Cash App. $sign Mo Smith Pro. So if you want to give a donation, it's cute to have those commercials, but remember the guests they get the $1. So if you want to give a donation,
okay,
lines are open.
Well, before I go into my final thought, I want to say thank you to all of my panelists. Tonight's episode was incredibly fun. Thank you all for being open about your personal experiences, being and also being just hilarious, to be honest. I also want to make sure if you're watching at home and this is the first time watching, come back and watch us. You can find us on YouTube at Woe Nelly Media. You can find us on Facebook at Woe Nelly Media or at Woe Nelly Media. Or at WNM Talk It Out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You search Woe Nelly Media, you will find us. Woe is spelled WOE. So find us there. Please follow me on Instagram so you can find all the new updates. Let us know. We're going to be looking for audience members who want to be on the panel to come on the panel. So I would really hope that you can do that. Also, someone's backstage, but I don't know if they want to come on camera right now. But okay. So
bring her on the camera.
I see she had a little head wrap on, but I want her to get cute. She's backstage and she's been running the show for us today, and she's going to be hosting next week because I have an engagement that I'm going to be attending. So she will be hosting, and our discussion will be on white privilege, everyone. Rakia will be hosting us next week, and I'm very excited, Rakia. Okay, everybody. Oh, you're on mute, boo.
I've been trying to keep quiet because I've had my reaction. I'm trying to not have y'all hear me. But no, I'm so excited to host next week. But you can find me on at RickyZ_social on Instagram and at RickyZ social on Twitter. Can't wait to see y'all next week.
All righty.
I'm excited. I'm supposed to be on there. We'll see.
Yeah, you'll be on there. Yeah, it'll be a fun episode. I'm kind of mad I'm gonna miss it, but I mean, make it good now. Anyway, you guys, once again, signing off from Talk It Out. a place where people of opposing views get together and have a healthy, productive dialogue in a respectful way, keeping in mind that it's not always about proving who's right and who's wrong. Sometimes it's simply about listening and being heard. Have a good night.
Bye.